Hello everyone. Today, we will learn about the weaknesses of the Japanese army and soldiers that were identified by the Americans during World War II and considered to be the main ones. I have read about 50 reports from the US Army and tried to highlight the most common shortcomings of the Japanese army. Before watching, please subscribe to the channel. 99% of viewers watch videos without subscribing. Generally, according to the reports, one Japanese weakness smoothly flows into another, but in many reports it is noted that the key drawback is the inability to quickly and effectively deal with unexpected situations. I quote, "Although the Japanese soldier is a very effective cog in the military machine and follows a certain plan down to the smallest detail, he catastrophically lacks inventiveness and the ability to adapt to rapidly changing situations. No training can correct this flaw. This is an innate weakness that is partially the result of a strictly regulated life that does not encourage free thinking and individual initiative. This weakness is evident in both offensive and defensive situations." In another report from November 1943, similar shortcomings of the Japanese are mentioned. It is quoted as follows: "The Japanese soldier panics when faced with the unexpected and unknown. His shooting leaves much to be desired. Under certain conditions, the Japanese soldier lacks imagination and thinks poorly when acting independently." The weak mental abilities of ordinary Japanese soldiers are mentioned repeatedly. I quote another document. "The reaction of the Japanese is slow. The shooters seem completely bewildered when they have no opportunity to dig in and form a defense. Their reaction is significantly slower than that of the Americans." From this love of the unexpected, the Americans draw the following key shortcoming of the Japanese army. Japanese units cannot stand flank attacks and are practically unable to withstand them. Similarly, the Japanese fight poorly in conditions of encirclement or sudden changes in the situation. Here is another report. One of the mistakes of the Japanese is that they allocate most of their efforts to the front. If we create the appearance of constant pressure on the Japanese front and show no intention of attacking the flanks, then they leave them unprotected. At a certain moment, this can be used to sharply break the Japanese defense. Here is another report. Attacks during lunch break were the most successful. We often caught the Japanese off guard in large groups. The best results were achieved with flank and rear attacks. To be fair, it should be noted that not every army is capable of fighting in an encirclement during flank attacks, but according to the Americans, the Japanese also had a dislike for surprises. Their inability to quickly adapt to changing conditions is interestingly combined with other seemingly positive characteristics in combat conditions: fanaticism, fatalism, and the absence of fear of death. The Americans repeatedly noted that the Japanese could storm the same position without any changes. I quote the document, "The Japanese do not like to deviate from their initial plans and do not change them even when they encounter resistance. In some cases, the attacking forces of the Japanese were stopped by machine gun fire. Then they withdrew, reorganized, and attacked again for the second and even third time until they were all killed." The bulldog's persistence in carrying out its task until complete destruction often gives a mistaken impression of Japanese power. Discipline, fatalism, and lack of imagination force them forward despite losses. In the end, this crazy cocktail of fanaticism and unwillingness to deviate from the initial plan leads to strange situations, especially when it comes to aviation. For example, an American soldier remembers that on the first day of the attack, the Japanese sent twin-engine bombers at them, and 15 planes were shot down. However, for 7 days, there were no changes in altitude or formation. During this time, the number of Japanese planes was reduced from 54 to 8. Only on the 7th day did the planes begin to bomb from different sides and at different altitudes. Of course, Americans identified many other shortcomings: unwillingness to fight in open spaces, weak shooting training, carelessness in setting up security. For objectivity, in the next video, we will talk about the shortcomings of Americans from the Japanese point of view, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel not to miss the next video.